Hi guys, I'm here to talk today about Google Local Guides. Um, I'm casting my Pixel screen right now. I thought before I kind of talk about the changes that I'd like to make to the app, I'd talk about what it kind of currently is and what's working well and what I think could be improved on. So let's open it up. And the first thing you'll notice, or the first thing that I noticed, is that landing right on the page, you don't have a super clear way to contribute. Like if I have a photo that I just took, um, there's nothing that I can just immediately tap on to add that photo. And after you get some experience with the app, you know that if you scroll down a little bit, they have this little card that pops up, and sometimes it does bubble to the top of the feed. But yeah, you have this card that pops up, and it will take you to your photo library and you know show you images that you might want to contribute, which is great. And in fact, I think that should actually also be displayed on this photos panel, which currently is more of just like a kind of endless stream of photos, which is great when you want to like go and look back at what you've contributed in the past. But I think it also is important that wherever they click in the application, they should have some way that they are encouraged to, or that makes it really easy for them to give their opinion, write a review, leave stars, that sort of thing. Because in essence, the app really should be about contributing, and so to give them as many touch points as possible to do that, I think is really important. So going back to that first page, this kind of endless chronological scroll of every place that you've been, it's cool, and I do go back and look sometimes, but I think the landing page should really have an emphasis on contribution. And while I do have this little add review button here, when I look at it, and I think when anybody hears add a review, we feel like we're being asked to write a paragraph, and that doesn't seem fast. And so what I really want to promote is quick options for contribution. And, these cards here are great, particularly the answer yes or no questions about a place. I think that's, a really great way to gather data from the contributors. And I wish we could, have that and things similar to that integrated into more parts of the platform, particularly in edits. If you'll notice in edits, I've only made one edit. They're kind of like unicorns to me. It's hard to find them. And when you do, sometimes you don't think like, oh, let me go add that to guides. Usually it's something kind of inconvenient that happens. You're driving someplace and you think it's on Google Maps and then it isn't, and then you're just angry. And that's really when they want you to add the contribution. And so I think two things, right? So making edits super easy to add, even in the really bad situations, that'll be one thing that helps. And then the second thing is, if I don't know if this is possible, but if somehow after you use Google Maps to arrive at a location, if there can be a button there that will take you to your contribution page really fast, or there's a little add edit button on the maps thing. But I think if we could push that a little bit further, just for the people who like sign up for the local guides desktop shortcut, I think that could be a good thing. This new Q&A section is very new, and I'm not a fan of it yet because I don't know why it's there or what to do with it. There's just a little learn more tab, so I won't talk about that very much. It's very new. So yeah, two more things to talk about. The first thing is this kind of uncover missing information and check the facts tabs. I remember clicking on it just out of curiosity the first time that I was using this, and honestly, it's just a bit of a crazy show here with, kind of, you'll see in a moment, there are just all these, buttons to tap, and I don't know what I'll be tapping on and if I'll even know the place that they want me to, contribute to, and there's this kind of next button. I'd like to see the data on who uses this. It's not useful for me. I left it out of my rework of the app. So getting back to that, uncover missing information is the same deal. And then the last thing that I want to touch on is kind of the incentives of people using the app. I think a lot of the people who use this are characterized as people who, really want to share their photos of their food, or, people who like to write reviews on TripAdvisor and Yelp, those sort of people. We want to collect those kinds of people who want to share their experiences. And, if you look at this panel, when I first land here, it doesn't, the little progress bar, it's okay, but it doesn't really excite me to be contributing more. And I think that people who contribute, like, the really fulfilling things are the fact that, like, this this picture that I posted got, like, a lot of views, or, something like, particularly like buttons, if somebody can say, like, hey, that thing that you said about this restaurant, I agree with that. So creating mechanisms within the platform that allow contributors, and also the people who, see the data that the contributors give, and say, like, hey, you're doing a good job, I really like what you're doing. If we can somehow incorporate that into this page, I think that'll be a lot better, because, these buttons, they're cool. It's like a watch the numbers go up thing, but sometimes these changes don't happen very much, or they don't happen by very much, and so it's not super exciting to watch. So now let's take a look at what I've created. First, you'll notice that there's this huge orange button. I think that, the very first thing that you should be able to do when you land on the page is contribute, and since that's not on the page anywhere here, I really wanted it to be somewhere here, and I couldn't think of any better way than to just have, like, a kind of quick access button. Now you might ask me, like, when I click that button, what am I contributing to? I think the key to the contribution thing is, like, when. The key thing is when the people want to contribute. And currently I think people, like, come home from a nice day, out and from a restaurant or something, and they sit down and maybe they're in bed scrolling on their phone and they think, like, oh yeah, I took that picture of, this dessert and I want to post it. And so they'll open up the contribution and they'll post it. Second thing that happens more frequently now is the push notifications. Those are great. We should keep doing that. Let me close this before we get the ad. So anyway, we want this, button to be there for people's most recent experiences, because that's when we're truly having kind of like a fresh, recording of what's going on at that place. And I think that's really important to push to the people who are using Google Maps and Google search results. So, if we click on this, you'll see that we have this bar that, will say, like, hey, do you want to add photos? And it will, it knows what your location was when you took that photo, and so, you can select the photos and, contribute very easily that way. And notice that there's, like, an immediate post button too, so you can just go ahead and post it. If you want to take a picture, right, there's, like in Instagram, there's a very easy way. If you want to post a picture, you can just open up their camera and you can take a picture and you can add it to your, story or your board. There's nothing like that on here. And I feel like if people are opening up the contributions app at the location that they're having that experience, to add that, like, just make it super simple. Don't make them do something in Photos and then bring them to the, another application. Just let them take it here, and maybe you can even, like, augment it so that they don't record that photo, or it doesn't go into the library because maybe they don't want it, but they do want it on Local Guides, so that sort of thing. So that would just launch you right into the camera. Next thing I'll talk about is make and edit. So remember when we were talking about those quick yes or no questions? I thought those were super great, and so one thing that I did was I went ahead and just kind of extracted those from the click button, and I just put the question right there, because if it is a quick question and they know the answer to it, Why make it a two-step process? Just put it in front of them. They can click yes or no, and it's just there. Like, you're more likely to get the response from them if you just show it to them rather than like putting this air of mystery around it, right? So that's one thing. And I thought that could actually, this kind of quick response could be applied to the edits category. So if we click on edits here, it's saying like, hey, you're at this place and you know that something's not quite right. And usually it's like a pretty standardized issue, right? Either it's closed, the name isn't correct, maybe they changed address, something like that, right? And so, don't make them type it, don't make them do anything complicated, just let them say like, hey, this place is closed. And, it'll just be like super easy, just click, it's wrong, move on, and yeah, I think that will make things a little bit easier for people who are trying to make edits. And the edits are so important to get right because, the edits are the really painful things for the Google Maps users, showing up and finding that the place that you thought you were going to is closed now. That's painful, and you want to make sure that those things can be updated super, easily for everybody. Yeah, so that's that thing. They have write a review and rating. That's also put right here. They guess what your current location is in case you want to leave something there. Because, if something that really bugged me was that if I would open up the contribution application at a restaurant, like with thinking that I want to contribute something, and there's just no clear way to contribute, it's a little bit annoying, right? And so I just wanted to make sure that, if we can make it easier for the contributors to just, get it done in the place that they're at, that'll be great, right? And so this also has all of the quick access, if you just want to write a review, that's there. You can star it right there, which is convenient, right? Okay, what should we talk about next? And the last thing that I'll try to touch on here is the trophy page. So if we look back at the, let me pull it up. If we're looking back at this trophies page here, I talked about wanting to create an experience that is a little bit closer to, the individual contributions that the contributor is making. I think it's important to do two things, right? First thing is we want to reinforce to them the content that they're contributing that is really special. And if they're taking a photo, if they've taken a photo that's gotten like an amazing number of views and it's been really helpful, we want to remind them of that photo in particular, to kind of remind them, hey, like you did this photo, maybe it was the lighting, maybe it was the angle that you took it at, but this is like high quality content, and we want you to keep giving that kind of content. And then the second thing is show them their stats in a way that breaks it down in a little bit more exciting way. So I tried to do that here. So you'll notice that it still has this kind of game-ish progress bar. It shows you all of your stats here. But I also wanted to kind of create a story that tells what kind of contributions the contributor is making that really stand out as special. And so, maybe this particular contributor, like me, really likes to add photos. And, you want to remind them of some of their best photos and their best moments. So, yeah, I tried to create pages here that break that down in a bit of a more exciting way. I think it, the contributors, I'd like to see the data on how much they actually visit this page and how much they, take this into account. But for me, at least, I think it's important to show them, their special moments, because, that's the fulfilling thing. So thanks for listening to my review, and I'll see you guys later.